main point which I'm worried about is the unemployment rate.
Our government will implement following 3 schemes for employment-linked incentive as part of the Prime Minister's package. Our government will launch a comprehensive scheme for providing internship opportunities in 500 top companies to 1 crore youth in 5 years.
Internship opportunities in 500 companies. How do you look at this?
I think it's a very good move from the government.
I'm happy to announce a financial support for loans up to 10 lakh rupees for higher education in domestic institutions.
ये जॉब्स जो हैं ये मिलनी भी चाहिए.
Namaste and welcome. I'm Ashish Parekh. We are on this beautiful Bennett University campus and we are here for the first episode of our special show. This is where you get to know what the brightest young minds from across the nation think about the important issues that bother each and every one of us. This is where you get a glimpse into what India's younger generation actually thinks about some of India's current issues. This is where we talk about the most sensitive topics with, of course, the youngest minds from across the nation. And today, as you'd expect, we are talking about one of those topics that everyone in the nation is talking about. It's the union budget. It's something that bothers each one of us, whether it's a student, whether it's a salaried employee. It decides how much is left in our pockets at the end of the day. And of course, this is a very sensitive topic that we need to talk about. And as someone said, a funny guy once said, Indian budget is like a buffet. It looks like everyone has something for them in it, but at the end of the day, everyone seems to end up hungry. So clearly, union budget is something that we'll be talking about. The students are here. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Bharat.
What do you study?
I'm studying B.Tech third year.
So, Indian budget, a lot is being said about it. As a student, what were you expecting and what did you get?
I'm just concerned about one point, like long-term capital gains. It is increased to 12.5% regardless of the asset. And also the mid-term, it is approx 20%. Regardless of the asset, they are like telling you have to pay this much of tax.
Correct.
So I think this is the major issue.
So you think the taxes, that long-term capital gain tax is something that you're bothered about, which has been increased as well?
Yes.
All
regardless of the asset, they are like telling you have to pay this much of composition.
Right.
So they have to change it.
Absolutely. So clearly, one concern that we are seeing here from the students as well, this is something that we would expect a salaried employee or an investor to talk about. But in fact, if you see a student talking about it, you really realize how serious an issue that is. Let's also talk about some of the other students here. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Shan.
Hi, Shan. So one of your friends here spoke about long-term capital gain. You're a student now. What were you expecting from the budget? Because, of course, the job market is something that a lot of students are concerned about. We are seeing a lot of seats in the IITs also not filled up. There's a concern about that as well. As a student, what were you expecting from the budget and what have you got?
The main point which I'm worried about is the unemployment rate. So basically, according to a recent study, under 43% of students under 25 are unemployed right now. So I was expecting something related to the budget, okay, how they are tackling this issue of unemployment, especially in students under 25.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that we need to talk about here is the fact that while there's unemployment, one of the biggest factors that we need to also talk about is the skills. Yeah. Now, the government is doing a lot about the skills as well. 20 lakh youth will be trained over the next 5 years for the skill market. How do you think, how important is skilling? Because we see a lot of graduates across the nation, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 colleges, whatever you call it. But the skills, the skills that the industry needs, that's lacking in a lot of students. So how do you look at this move by the government to ensure that while students graduate, they are skilled as well?
I mean, it's very nice that they are offering us internships over 400 different companies. But I don't think it can tackle the problem of unemployment in our nation.
So what do you think the government should do to ensure that the unemployment issue is sorted? Because a lot of companies are coming to India. There's a lot of growth. The companies are also making profits, but where are the jobs? That's a big question. What do you think the government should do?
They should give more employment.
I mean, okay, let's speak to someone else here. So the government is, of course, focusing on the job market. What do you think? The unemployment issue, one of your friends even gave a statistic here. A lot of unemployment in the country. What are the steps that the government should be taking in the next budget at least that the unemployment issue is sorted?
See, there are a lot of, that internships and stuff, but there's no PPO after that. So what government can do is they can ask these companies to ensure a PPO after that. these internships, it will definitely increase the employment rates.
Right, right. So clearly diverse views here as far as employment is concerned, and one clear sign that we are seeing here from the students, one clear message here is that while it's good that they're offering a lot to different industries, it is very important that they also do something about the job market as well. And talking about the job market, the union budget also talks about educational loans. Now financial assistance will be given for loans, educational loans up to 10 lakh rupees in domestic universities. How do you think that will benefit a lot of students? Because we've seen as well, students struggle to get their educational loans, and because of that, even though they qualify, they're not able to study in the universities that they like. So how do you look at this move?
So they should, like as a student, they should decrease the documentations, or they should simplify the way the process the students gets the loan, and also they should decrease the taxes in the tuition fee so that students can afford that easily.
Right.
The middle class family should they are paying taxes, so they should get some advantages of it.
Right, right. So clearly one of the messages that we're also seeing here is the taxes. Now the taxes on coaching institute, we were talking about coaching institutes also, your friend was mentioning about how coaching institutes are also being taxed. There's an 18% GST on coaching institutes. A lot of students have been demanding that this tax should be removed so that tuitions become more affordable. As a student, how do you look at the fees that you have to pay? It's difficult to get educational loans. It also is difficult to pay taxes. So as a student, what are your demands?
I believe that GST should not be there even a 1%, because middle class families can't afford to have so much higher fees for a better education. Because even if a student doesn't get an IIT or a government institute, so he can still manage to get a private institute if he gets the loan. But for that documentation, it's for a very few limited people. So I don't think so any GST is valid on this.
Right, right. All right, all right. So you have a point for that, because he's of course saying that it becomes very difficult for the middle class families to afford education if there are taxes.
Yeah, so basically the loans without collateral limit is 7.5 lakhs, and many people don't have collateral. So I guess the government should increase the amount of loan without having collateral on their side. So that is 7.5. I guess it should be at least 15 lakhs. Reason because you don't get universities for 7.5 lakhs.
Right.
Good universities at least. We're not getting into IITs. Most of the students are not getting into NITs. So where do they get? So they get into private universities, and 7.5 lakhs is not a good amount for private universities.
Absolutely. So that's a very interesting point here, that the financial assistance has to be increased. The government, of course, has said that it is doing all that it can to ensure that the best young minds in the nation stay here. They also continue. Meanwhile, let's also talk about the taxes. There are, of course, a lot of concerns about the taxes. The salaried class says that, I mean, they are earning the taxes and they are being pushed even more instead of actually collecting taxes or generating revenue from other sources. What do you have to think? Because I don't think you have a job right now, but even as a salaried employee, you will eventually have to pay the tax. So how do you look at the concerns that the taxpayers are raising?
The tax which is deducted from our salaries is, I mean, it's too much for them to deduct, because the other businessmen, they don't pay the taxes, and all the service class have to pay the taxes involuntarily if they want to or not.
You were expecting, I believe, a lot from the budget, because a lot of students are keeping an eye, and also you've been given a lot as well. Incentives as far as students are concerned, and also internship opportunities in 500 companies. How do you look at this?
I think it's a very good move from the government. Student needs opportunities in life, and I thank the government for these opportunities.
Right. So also we had one student here from the southern part of the nation. You were talking about how a lot of benefits are being given in the budget, and also a lot of concerns are being raised by a lot of states. There is concern about a particular portion of the country not getting enough tax, and you also spoke about it. So what are your views about it?
First of all, since we got the freedom, they are always focusing on the north. It's obvious. I know the center has to focus.
But there's been enough development in the north as well.
Yes. But we demand, please give the majority of the competition to the south also, because so many south states are still developing. If you are if we get help from the government, it will be very beneficial for the south.
Where are you from?
I am from Andhra.
You're from Andhra. You should be happy. You got the most shares as far as this budget is concerned.
But
Why are you
I'm
upset?
also concerned about the Tamil Nadu, Bangalore. I am concerned about the South India, obviously.
Okay, so Southern Brotherhood there, concerned about it. Anyone from the North that actually wants to counter it? Because clearly one of your friends here thinks that all the taxes are being collected from the South. And
I think the fare should be much more fair based on the capital and earnings from both the states. So, yeah, I think budget balances over the years and not only a single year.
Where are you from?
I'm from Delhi.
You're from Delhi, all right. You've also got quite a bit. Anyone from Bihar here? Any student from Bihar? Nobody from Bihar, all right. We could have gotten an interesting point of view there. Also, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I am from Uttar Pradesh and I feel that Bihar and Assam have got more benefits out of the budget than UP. And if the debate is between North India and South India, I feel that South India is much more literate and developed. So chances should be more given to the northern states like UP, which is one of the major states of the country.
All right. Also, we see a lot of students from the northern part of the country go to the south as well. Why do you think that happens? Because, of course, there are enough educational institutes here as well. Why do you think a lot of students migrate from the north to the south?
I feel it's the environment over there, which is because they study in between literate, so it just gives them an environment to, study more and explore and research.
Absolutely. Do you have to say anything on the quality of education? Do you think there's a major quality of education change between the north and the south?
सर थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट है क्योंकि आई गेस क्योंकि मैं जहाँ तक सुना है बहुत से लोगों से कि साउथ के जो कॉलेजेस होते हैं उनमें ज़्यादा फोकस किया जाता है स्टडीज़ वगैरह में नॉर्थ में भी रहता है लेकिन साउथ में आई गेस ज़्यादा रहता है
ओके ऑल्सो ये एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट इशू है जो कि बोला जाता है कि स्टूडेंट्स are not getting enough facilities as well from the government to help them in employment. Do you agree with that? Do you think the government is doing enough? Because in this budget as well, we are seeing how they're trying to upgrade skills also. 1,000+ ITIs will be upgraded so that students who go to ITIs have the skills that the industry needs as well. So do you think the government is doing enough to skill the youth?
Sir, they are doing, but they should improve more. Because I guess इस बजट में उन्होंने 3 लाख करोड़ अलॉट करे हैं 4.01 करोड़ न्यू जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ ओपन करने के लिए लेकिन ये जॉब्स जो हैं ये मिलनी भी चाहिए क्योंकि कहा तो जा रहा है लेकिन अगर इतनी नहीं मिल पाती हैं तो ये सरकार को इसमें कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि जितना अलॉट हुआ है उतना आउटपुट भी है
ओके राइट सो अगेन a very consistent point of view that we're seeing here, the fact that while it is important to ensure that everyone is skilled, the government should also do enough to make sure that the companies arrive as well. My friend, you seem to be very busy with your phone here. Do you think the government is doing enough?
हाँ कर रही है.
What do you think? How was the union budget for the students? A lot of benefits that the students have got. What do you think?
सही है सर.
Right, man of a very few words there. I appreciate that as well because of course we got a lot of people speaking a lot. Right, go ahead.
So I'm not really a student of this college, but I think the taxpayer, what he thinks while paying the tax is that how his money is being utilized in the country. And some of the people in the North India thinks that their tax is actually not really utilized because if you go to a foreign country, you see a stark difference between amount and the infrastructure which they have there. And I think this also contributes to the difference between North and South India because I have this personal opinion that I have been in South India for a while and I've seen that the morality level in the people is significantly higher than the northern guys. So I think the tax is better utilized in such places than in the North India. And talking about the impacts of that on students, I think that is pretty significant because I've studied it in South India and I have actually felt the difference that how the teachers or the general institutions treat you versus what we have observed in the North India.
Right. Again, this is a very important argument because I think we talk a lot about North and South, but I think the bigger debate here has to be about making sure that the development in India is distributed. We are seeing development in some cities are still left behind, so I think that will also catch up. What do you think about this debate? Because a lot of people seem to say that education quality is different and also the government is not doing enough to ensure that the people who are graduating are skilled, and even if they're skilled, they're not finding jobs because there are not enough companies. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree because it's true. People are not finding jobs. For this, government can help in supporting startups. If startups they will help, then the jobs will automatically increase and it will solve the issue of unemployment.
Right. What are you studying?
I'm studying BTech CSE.
All right, you're doing CSE. You seem to have quite an open job market. Do you think the median package that's going up, is it helping you also?
that's I can't tell that now because.
Or do you think the CTC that is shown is much higher and the actual amount that you get at the end of the day, thanks to all of these taxes, is much lower?
Yeah, it's true. Like they are applying so much taxes on the jobs. They are saying that taxes will not apply on less than 7.5 lakhs. But what will people have so many loans and many other cost daily expenses. So taxes can be reduced.
But there's also the old regime that you can use to get exemptions as well. You have options for it.
Yeah, we have options, but that they are applying taxes which on all the things which the taxes should not be there, so they can.
All right. So again, this seems to be a major concern. Do you also agree that students are now, even before they get the jobs, they're already more than getting worried about the placement, they seem to be worried about the taxes?
Yeah, sure. First of all, the thing is the CTC is much higher than the in-hand we get from the companies. For example, if I'm getting 100 rupees from the company, on that I have to pay around 20% or 30% tax. After that, I have to pay 18% tax on mobile phones. After that, I have to pay 5% tax on food. 28% on expensive items like fridge and ACs, which are necessities in nowadays due to the environment and all. So in hand, and after that we are the cost of living in Bangalore, Mumbai is so much higher than in UP city and UPs and UP and other cities also.
Right.
So the cost of living is very much higher. So we should reduce the taxes on, for example, GST. Taxes by meaning GST. Road tax we pay around 3 to 4% road tax on face value of the car if we buy a new one. Then also we pay toll tax when we are going somewhere. That is some issue that the government should look on.
Absolutely. Interesting there. The fact that we were expecting the students to talk more about the jobs and the job market and the infrastructure that needs to be brought in as well, but they seem more concerned about the taxes. Again, let's not talk about taxes here. Let's talk about the educational institutes, the facilities that the government is offering. Your friend here spoke about the fact that a lot of students stay outside their, hometown. They actually pay a lot of money. The cost of living is also very high. Do you think the government should also focus on building more institutes across the country? Because we see there seems to be a saturation. It's all focused in certain regions. So do you think the government should diversify it?
Yes, government should see to make more and more institutes and more and more to give more facilities to their institute students. And now students are getting not getting that facilities, and they are paying that taxes, more and more taxes, but students are not giving that facilities.
A lot of your friends seem to suggest that a lot of focus is given to certain colleges, certain regions, north, south, IITs, IIMs. Let's also talk about the fact that education is universal. Everyone has a right to education, right? A lot of schools and colleges are also being built in rural areas, and all of that has to be done from taxes. So do you think the focus has to be on ensuring that there's an all-round development, while it might not really seem too much in the cities and for you, but also in rural areas, a lot of schools and colleges are being built?
Yeah, it is. I am already from a rural area, and I think it is really important because people there don't know that much about colleges and all. Only the people who are educated, they prefer to put their children in colleges. Also, they prefer to go in cities and all to have a better lifestyle there. And if government do something to improve their education in rural areas, it will be very beneficial.
Right. They're also giving a lot of allocation for rural developments. You stayed, like you said, you are from the rural areas as well. How much of an improvement you've seen in terms of schools and colleges? Have you seen a major change in the past few years, or do you think the quality is still the same that you saw when you were a kid?
Changes are there, but not that much. I think there should be more,
more allocation for it?
Yeah.
All right. What do you think the government should do now? Now, clearly she says that there are changes, but for a country which is as developing as India, a lot of sectors are developing very fast. Rural education in rural areas, what do you think the government should do to ensure that a lot of kids who, for various reasons, cannot really come to colleges and schools, how should they be brought inside the system?
See, I believe maybe increasing the budget towards that, but as you know, the taxes are already quite high for middle class family. So what they can do is increasing the employment rates. That they can do by part-time jobs and stuff like that. Basically overall development, so that the capital not only concentrates to the urban areas but also the rural areas.
Right. Right. So again, at the end of the day, the debate comes back to the same thing that we were talking about, the fact that job market needs to be created for different streams. Before we wrap this discussion up, my friend from the CS, again, like your friend pointed out, a lot of companies come for the CS placements and everything. What do you think the governments should do to ensure that different streams also get jobs, different companies are also coming to all of these colleges to hire students?
Yes, there are many companies which are coming, but the major factor is that there is like if we talk about other countries, they get many good salaries. But if we talk about India, there is no like factor, like no restrictions. They get cheap labor.
Right. Again, like he rightly pointed out, the job market seems to be very saturated. We were discussing about the fact that a lot of companies seem to be focused in particular streams and branches. Again, the government is also focusing a lot on ensuring different types of companies from all over the world come as well. What do you think the government should do to ensure that job market, while it's the CS sector that is seeing a lot of jobs coming in, other sectors are also taken care of? We also have civil, we also have mechanical as well, where placements are not very high. What should the government do?
Government should increase some employment rate and decrease the taxes also for the companies which come from the outside, so that they do not hesitate in like हमें ज़्यादा taxes pay करना पड़ेगा अगर इंडिया में जाएंगे. That should not be there, because by which employment will also increase in our country.
Right. So this is of course the discussion on our show of talking about how job markets are also something that the students are worried about. But the interesting point that we picked here from Bennett University in this episode is the fact that the students also seem to be very concerned about the job market and also at the same time about the taxes as well. So again, this is a major issue that the students are talking about. This is a major issue that people across the nation are talking about. And again, budget seems to be something that even is resonating in college campuses across the nation. We'll be joining you back next week with yet another topic on Campus Now. Stay tuned.